Friday morning, the first of my final 4 days of the trip. I was on my way to the north side of London. There were a few sights up that way that I wanted to see.
It's not just wet this morning, it is cold and wet. So I think the temperature is like 13 degrees. And it's just after 9 o'clock, I believe. Yeah, 9:20. So City Mapper has me going on the Central Line to Oxford Circus, then the Victoria Line to Finsbury Park, and the Piccadilly Line to Wood Green. So I'm looking at about an hour, maybe more. One of the things I love about the passageways and a lot of the London Underground stations is they feel like caves, tunnels, and not hallways. Right? In Korea, they just look like passageways in a building, but here you feel like you really feel like you're underground. I've got to go out to a little short walk to a bus stop, and then it's a short bus ride. And I'm touching the W3.
Okay. My destination was Alexandra Palace, but I got off the bus one stop early because I wanted to check out the park that surrounds it. I just love London's parks.
So the rain stopped. I don't know if it's gonna hold or not. Either way, I'm fine. But I do plan to do a lot of walking from here on out.
Ali Pali opened in 1873. It was initially conceived as the Palace of the People, a recreational and entertainment facility for the general public. It was named in honor of the Princess of Wales, Alexandra of Denmark, wife to the future King Edward VII, and mother to the future George V. In 1900, an Act of Parliament created the Alexandra Park and Palace Charitable Trust to maintain all of it and ensure it remained available to the public in perpetuity. But during World War I, it was shut down, at first to house Belgian refugees, and then to serve as an internment camp for German and Austrian civilians. In 1935, a portion of the building was leased out to the BBC to use for their first regular public television service. They continued to use it for several years, and today the radio and television tower atop the building is still in use.
I've seen it, and now I'm going to head west. Muswell Hill, half a mile.
Dedicated fans of the Kinks will certainly be familiar with Muswell Hill. Not only is there the album Muswell Hillbillies and the track on that album titled Muswell Hill, it's also the place where three of the founding members, Ray and Dave Davies and Pete Quaife, grew up and went to school. The origins of the band are there. And by the way, they also went to school with Rod Stewart, who lived in nearby Highgate. Along the way, I passed two of the chainsaw carvings that were created by Shane Green for the London Olympics and put up in different London parks. There were three here at one point, but only these two remain.
And here we are, Muswell Hill.
Now, I'm not such a fan of the Kinks that I've got to see all of the places associated with their songs and their history. But I did just want to walk through the place at least to give it a look. Since I was passing this way en route to my next destination, I just had to stop to get a look at Highgate Wood, a remnant of the Forest of Middlesex, an ancient woodland that once covered most of what is now northern London and beyond. The trees here are old, and the forest once was vast. It's hard to imagine how it once looked.
So right across the street over there is the Queenswood, and Highgate Wood keeps going around this way. But our path lies in this direction because we're heading toward Highgate High Street. Peter Sellers lived here from 1936 to 1940.
It's always difficult for me to resist the urge to shoot video footage or snap photos of every building I pass as I walk through London's streets. The variety of architectural styles, the history associated with so many of the buildings, the stories that must be hidden behind them, and the blue plaques.
Mary Kingsley, traveler and ethnologist, lived here as a child. Yeah, I think I gotta do something. They've got sandwiches too. This might be my lunch and dessert.
The sausage roll was okay. The brownie, though, was fantastic. This wasn't my first time on Highgate High Street. My wife and I passed through in 2019, intending to visit Highgate Cemetery. But we'd been walking all day. We weren't quite used to it back then, and we were quite a bit tired, so we hopped on a bus to go chill out in Camden for a little bit. This time, I was determined to visit Highgate Cemetery.
We were here. This road would take us down to Highgate Cemetery, but I thought it would be nice to just cut across the park instead.
Something's very wrong. The pulse returns for prodigal sons, with blackouts, hearts, with flowered news, with skull designs upon my shoes. I can't give everything. I can't give everything. Away. no, but meaning yes. This is all I ever meant. That's the message that I sent. I can't give everything. I can't give everything.
By the early 19th century, London's cemeteries had become overcrowded and were contaminating the water supply. In 1832, Parliament passed an act incentivizing the creation of new cemeteries outside of central London by private interests. 7 such cemeteries were created. Highgate was one of them. What is now the west side of the cemetery opened in 1839, and it quickly became a popular and fashionable spot, not just for burials, but for people to come and spend an afternoon. In 1854, more land was purchased for an extension, and the eastern side of the cemetery opened in 1860. Today, the cemetery is maintained and operated by the Friends of Highgate Cemetery Trust, a charitable trust established in 1975.
I can't give everything.
My next stop was Parliament Hill on the south end of Hampstead Heath. I'd seen the view before from the north end up outside Kenwood House, but I'd never been here. This wasn't the best day for it.
Can't give everything.
After a short walk through the south end of the park, I took a little detour to get a look at a house where George Orwell once stayed.
There it is, Camden Market, right there.
The building that houses Camden Market today once housed the stables for the workhorses of the Camden Goods Depot. I hadn't planned to visit Camden Market on this trip. I've been there several times, and it just doesn't hold the interest for me that it used to. What did strike me, though, was how empty the place felt compared to my past visits, which were always during the peak tourist season and not during September. Even the Amy Winehouse statue looked a little lonely without anybody waiting there to snap a photo with her. I decided to grab some fish and chips at Poppy's. Every time I'd tried to eat there before, here in Camden, the wait was too long. This time, I was able to walk right in and sit down. And let me tell you something, it was good. That was very good and very filling. When I ordered the side of mushy peas, I didn't expect them to be so big. A lot of places, they give you the mushy peas in a little, small side dish, but this place you've got to order them extra, and it's a sizable bowl. And that kind of put me over the edge, I think. I was going to head to Euston Station and hop on the Underground there back to my hotel. Although it was only late afternoon, early evening, it had been a long day, and I had done a lot of walking, and I had a big day planned on Saturday. But I found that I wasn't quite ready to stop, so I kept going. Well, it is Saturday morning, the beginning of my last weekend here. I've got today, tomorrow, Monday, and then Tuesday, back on a plane to home. This morning, I'm heading to Waterloo Station to grab a train to Salisbury. It's just past 8 a.m. I was up early this morning. I woke up before 6:30. I had my alarm set for just before 7:30. And I just, got up and got ready early. My train isn't until 9:20, so I'm well ahead of time. The temperature right now is around 4 degrees, which is nice and cool. It's 4 degrees Celsius. We're expecting a high in London today of 14 degrees Celsius, which the meteorologist on BBC said was well below the average for this time of year. The average is 20 degrees Celsius. Okay, here we go. The trains are up another escalator. Okay, so breakfast this morning is Costa. I've got their yogurt, and I got a large Americano. All right, I am at Salisbury Station, and there's a Stonehenge bus right there, but yeah, that's not for me. I am going to walk. I can't begin to tell you how much I had been looking forward to this day. Walking from Salisbury to Stonehenge had been on my list for quite some time. But as eager as I was, I decided to wander around the town a little bit before I got started. I didn't expect to be in any mood to do that in the evening when I was finished. And I didn't know when I would be back again for another chance to see Salisbury. So I took about an hour to check things out. I especially wanted to see the cathedral. from the outside anyway.
All right, I got 2 sandwiches and a bottle of water from Pret. I think I got an egg mayo and a classic club or whatever they call it. So that should do me at some point on the walk. Oh gosh, I so want to explore this town. I'm tempted just to give up the hike and hang out here for the day. Look at this. Is that Norman? It looks Norman, doesn't it? Wow. Okay. Sarum, St. Thomas, and St. Edmund, Church of St. Thomas Becket, ancient chapel of ease of the cathedral and parish church of Salisbury, founded AD 1220. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to have to look up some info on this and put a link down in the description. I'm not going to do it now. Got to save my phone battery and my data needed for that map, the hiker app today. Oh gosh, the food smells so good around here. Traditional English breakfast served all day, £8.95. That is pretty awesome, I think. Oh, so tempting. My path takes me along the river for a bit, upstream, and then out of the city and into the countryside, the fun bit. Wow, this is a busy walkway. I didn't expect to see so many people out here.
I'm just ready to...
This is Old Sarum. Okay. I knew it was along the path somewhere, but I didn't know where. Fantastic. All right. This is a nice diversion. There's Salisbury Cathedral over there. So Old Sarum was the original site of settlement here before Salisbury came up.
There's evidence of settlement at Old Sarum going back to 3000 BCE. A hill fort was there in 400 BCE. The Romans used it. The Saxons used it. The Normans came in and built a motte and bailey castle and a cathedral in the late 11th century. Henry I, the son of William the Conqueror, built a royal palace there inside the castle. Henry II used the place to imprison his wife, Eleanor of Aquitaine, after she supported their sons against him in the Great Revolt in the late 12th century. And then in the early 13th century, for a variety of reasons, the cathedral was relocated from Old Sarum to a spot near the Avon River, the same river along which I started this little hike. And that's where the town of what is now Salisbury grew up around the cathedral to what it is today, and Old Sarum fell out of use.
Oh, wow, what a view.
As an added bonus, we got to see a plane make a couple of trips and drop some parachutists out on the planes. Unfortunately, they didn't really come out on camera. And there's the plane again coming in. Wonder how many trips he makes in a day.
Yeah, this is absolutely wonderful. £9 well spent just for the views. And those tables down there look like a good spot to eat lunch. The sandwiches were good. I do have dessert, something I bought up north. I was looking for some peanut butter cups in a gas station the other day with Mark, and they didn't have any, so I found these Bonbons Confectionery chocolate covered peanuts. And I'll tell you what, they are really, really good. I like them so much that I bought 3 more packs at Booth's. So I've already killed one. When I told the lady in the ticket office here that I was walking from Salisbury to Stonehenge, she told me it was about 8 miles and offered to give me the phone number for the taxi service. And I said, I'm okay, thank you. But it was kind of her to do so. What's that song from The Lord of the Rings? The road goes ever on and on. One way this walk has differed from the others I've been on so far is that there've just been long stretches where the scenery doesn't change. But that's fine because it's absolutely lovely. Oops, I'm kind of getting the attention of the sheep here by talking. They're all looking at me. Oh boy, I see it. Unexpectedly, just over this rise, I can see Stonehenge there in the distance. Amazing. I had no idea it was going to be visible over this rise. I knew I was close to it, but wow.
The cows couldn't have cared less, but for me, this was a major moment. I had been fascinated by Stonehenge since I was a small child. I don't remember how old, but quite young. And through all the books and documentaries and movies and pictures, it had been with me pretty much my entire life. And I never thought I'd actually come out here and see it. It was on my list to walk from Salisbury to Stonehenge and lay eyes on it for myself. I just never really expected it would actually happen. And here I was, finally.
No, 3 blind mice.
I'm really here. That is so cool. Midsummer sunrise, midsummer sunset. Okay, so my options are to walk about 40 minutes to Amesbury and take a bus at the library there at some point, or to walk maybe 25-30 minutes to the visitor center off in this direction and grab a bus to Salisbury from there. And I've opted for the visitor center.
And so I followed the crowd to the visitor center. I had a bit of a wait, so I grabbed a snack. Eventually got on the bus and got off at Salisbury Station, where I got the train back to London. Mission accomplished. One more thing checked off the bucket list. Thanks for watching, thanks for liking, and thanks for subscribing. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.